This is Shahar with SpillTheBeansTV, and we are live right now with a very special guest and a personal friend of mine. Here is Lisa Peck with BizOnYourTerms.tv.
Well, I'm Lisa J. Peck, and I love to write books. And so one day I decided to go and listen to a really popular book author. And when I listened to him, I realized that I was playing my life a little small, and I wanted to play a lot bigger. So I came home and announced to my husband that I was going to start a business, that I was going to start coaching people, I was going to start speaking. He's like, "You're going to do what?" And, that's what it started. That within that week, I had my business license and I started. And, I do have 8 kids. So he was a little bit surprised that I was going to be able to do, run a business, still continue to write books, and raise those little darlings.
How long ago was that?
That was over 8 years ago.
Wow. And you started the business in 1 week.
I did. No reason to put off stepping it up. You got to get out there. You got to go for it. I was inspired. I heard him. I heard the call. Knew that I could reach more people. I could touch more people. And I was just on fire to go and do it. And, had a lot of falls along the way, but it's been a lot of fun.
You mentioned you have 8 kids. Running a business and being a mother is not an easy thing. Can you shed some light to all the mothers out there raising, because with 8 I would say you do have some experience.
The best light is implementing systems and teaching your kids when they're young. So I wouldn't have been able to start off a business if I hadn't implemented my systems with my kids and have a system of running the household, have a system of who does what, having a system of them learning to mind me, so when they hit the teenagehood, it would be a lot harder for them to go against my will because they're so used to listening to me and being obedient and all that kind of fun stuff. But systems really, really help making the household run really well. And, I'm a little bit of an original mother. I don't do all the cooking. Why should I? I have 5 daughters. So, we spread the workload. We don't, Mama doesn't do it all.
You can be the expert and be there talking to people what they have to do, but you have a whole new take on how you approach this, which I like quite a bit, and it has a lot of energy. So tell me a little more about how you're working with entrepreneurs on a daily basis.
Well, I love to work with entrepreneurs because they're the creative sort, and they're the ones who are out there and they're passionate and they want to work. One of the first things we do is we determine really what is it that they want to create. And that sounds simple, but it really isn't. To really get them crystal clear, what is it that they want to create, how do they want to do it, and how do they use it using their unique personality and honoring their values. Because there's so many people doing so many different things, and we're told and we're bombarded by so much that you are not going to be successful unless you are aligning with who you are. Then we proceed and we get clear on the goals and get clear on how you sabotage yourself. Because so many people they're their own worst enemies. So I work a lot on sabotage.
Sometimes you have people with amazing businesses, amazing talent, they have everything to succeed, but they manage to do something every day to avoid that.
One of the first things that I do is see, okay, here's your goal. This is exactly what you want. Let's break that down to action steps that you can do every single day. And then have a way to track what you're doing and what you're not doing. And for me, I'm the Step It Up Queen. I don't believe in excuses. So if you're going to say you're going to do these 3 things, do them. No lying, no, oh, but this came up, no, that. I'm telling you, adults have the worst excuses. My teenagers top them. They do much better jobs of giving excuses, so forget the excuses. Break it down to bite-sized things that you can do every single day and track it. Having accountability, showing up every single day. And if you know you're going to have a heavy day, then make the action step small. If you know you have a little bit bigger day with more room, make the action step bigger. But consistently track what you're doing, your numbers, what the results are. And it's been proven by tons of research that what you track, what you count will grow. So if you want to pay more attention to some area, you need to have that. And you also need to set up in your environment. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs that have like total chaos for environment, and they try to blame their spouse, their children, the way the wind's blowing, of why they can't have control over their environment. And I'm telling you, you can have some control. You can't have every hour planned out. You know, I know that as being a mother, but I do know that there's 3 action steps I can take every single day, and I'm not going to go to bed until I get them done. Some of the big gurus out there say 5 action steps every day, and I have not met an entrepreneur yet who can do those 5 without going into overwhelm. Okay. So I've always recommended 3, especially because I work with a lot of people who have families too, that 3 is doable. 3 is and it's more important that you have that win. You get those things done, and if you have time for more, then you do more. But I have found that 3 is the magical number.
I want you to give us more tips on how I can improve my mindset as an entrepreneur. You know, I was just like some moments ago, I was reading a report from somebody, and he said such a good thing, like the state of our health overall, behavioral health, eating habits, it's in such a low bar that we are just doing a disservice to ourselves, not paying attention to these things. So you not only have to pay attention to what you eat, but you have to pay attention to how you're treating yourself and the mechanisms that you're creating. It's very easy to just, you know, think positive and say, I'm going to make $1 million in 2013 and stop right there, right? Thinking that external forces will bring it to you just because you are entitled to. It's a whole different ball game for you to have the power to go and do what needs to be done.
I cover 3 steps in my book, Step It Up or Get Out of the Way. And the first step, and the most important step, is to choose hard and to decide whether you're going to be hardy, if you're going to be an athlete, get into the game of business, or you not. And with choosing hard, it's all about realizing that the upfront, when we first start something, is not going to be easy. You have a choice. You can either take the easy street or you can take the hard street. But if you choose the hard way, then you're going to have a lot of outcome. You're going to have a lot of results. You know, I first discovered this choose hard or choose easy route when I was in, when I first started middle school. They pulled me aside, and I was in an, what do you call it, a resource class. They put me in resource, and they were sitting there coloring, and I'm going, I think they put me in the wrong class. So I went up to the teacher and said, excuse me, I think you put me in the wrong class. And then all of a sudden my parents got called, and the school officials all gathered around, and they had this big discussion, and then they called me into the meeting. And they said, okay, Lisa, you have this thing called dyslexia. You mix up things, the way you look at things, or you kind of have some loops in your brain that's not making it so that you read things as normally as other people. So you have a choice. And they sat me down. They didn't have dyslexic help back then. They just said, you got a choice. You can either go in mainstream, and you're not going to do very well at class, and you're going to struggle, and grades are going to be hard, or you can go to resource class, and you're going to just sell by. Well, I wouldn't be the Step It Up queen today if I would have said, okay, put me in the resource class. I chose hard, and I'm telling you, those grades did not come easy. I worked 10 times, probably 100 times harder than other people in my class. I really struggled through those years. But I am grateful for that because it taught me the discipline that I can now bring to business, where I know when things get hard, it doesn't mean, oh, things are hard, I'm going to quit. It means keep on going, because you know that in the long run there's going to be the positive results. So if you're going to choose hard, it might not be fun to eat those veggies, but in the long run, the blood pressure and everything else is going to say, yes, we ate the veggies.
So when you're talking about the play hard, and you say, do it, I keep saying, I could give you as an excuse, I'm not a left brain. Right? I'm more holistic. I like balance. I like the flow. So play hard becomes very difficult, doesn't it?
Well, it depends on how you look at it, because I work with a lot of artistic type of people, because I am one myself. And, you know, I love to write novels. And novels fall apart if they don't have the proper structure put in, if they don't have the proper form and the proper plot. But once I have the plot figured out in a book, I am very free to be creative. I'm very free to create and to do these things. And that same principle applies to business. When you meet the structure and you meet the outline, then you have the freedom to be more of who you are. But if you go and every day you don't know what you're going to do, and you kind of go on the whims, and oh, I'm going to do this email, I'm going to do that email, and oh, maybe I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, that is a recipe for chaos, overwhelm, and not to get results and not to make money.
You had another point?
Yeah, my second point is to do a lot of conditioning within. And that means doing your exercises every day with inside of you, setting yourself up so that you are at peak performance. And this problem, I can't tell you how many women entrepreneurs I work with who put everybody else above themselves, and they don't take care of themselves. Well, if you don't take care of your inner vessel and your body, you're not going to be able to show up work and be full on fire. So, I have done so many times when I'm feeling a little fatigued, I go write my novel for a little while and I will get clients. People are like, well, how does that work? Well, it works by self-care and by being there in the zone. So figuring out what you need to do every day so that you are at peak performance. A lot of people, it will require, some time in nature, other times reflective time, other people just need to hit the golf course. So whatever it takes to put you in peak performance so that you do have the stamina to show up at those negotiations and to show up for your clients and to be your best.
And the brain really needs to breathe, right? That's why I take my breaks to do crafts or the wildlife photography, because actually the other day, Lisa, National and I, we were in a meeting and we had to come up, we had to come up with a name for something. And it just, 3 days we couldn't do it. We just couldn't do it. And then I say, okay, we are doing something wrong here. So this is what we are going to do. Let's go out and get some pictures of, we take pictures of animals. Let's go out and not think about it because, the brain needs to breathe. Guess what? We came back with the name.
Of course.
Right? Because, we gave that breathing room and you say, oh, here it comes, because it's not on demand, right? I mean, especially if you are a creator, sometimes your mind is focusing on one point and you just cannot force it to come up with something else. So, fantastic tip.
Yeah, I had a client once, and he called, and he was really stressed because his baby was in the emergency room. He was in primary children's, and he was, he had a stacking medical bills. He had a wife who was ill and was also in the hospital, and he didn't know how he was going to be able to handle all this, plus keep his business afloat. And when we did a lot of, I coached him, we processed it, I'm going, okay, how can you stay in peak performance right here when there's so much stress and undue stress going on? And we determined for him it was to go hunting, that he really needed to go hunting. So we had an interesting conversation on problem solving, how he was going to sell that to his wife. But it was amazing. Within a week he came back and his sales had doubled. And, he had all these crises, and within, a month he had sustained that doubling of the income because he learned that being there and taking some me time was going to help him stay in his zone so that he could be the loving, caring father, he could be the loving, caring husband, and be the effective businessman.
Yeah, and that's another thing, especially people in business. We tend to forget about our inner being quite a bit.
When you're an entrepreneur, you're always working. With a regular job, it's 9 to 5. But as an entrepreneur, there's always something else to do, something more to do. And it's hard to justify to your mind going, oh, if I go meditate for 15 minutes, this is going to help my business. And so that's my hardest job as a coach, is to show, okay, you take care of yourself, your business will grow. And when they finally start applying these principles, is amazing, the results. More clients will come in and more money comes in. And they're like, well, how does that work? Well, it works by you being more of who you are and having your brilliance there. And that's what your clients are attracted to anyway.
Listen, the third point, we didn't cover that, right?
The third point is taking consistent action. And that is the most critical one, I think, of all of them, is to consistently show up. I don't know of anything that could change your outcome of your business than consistency. People are constantly looking for, oh, here's the secret answer to this. Here's the secret answer to that. Oh, I want the golden ticket here. The golden ticket is to roll up your sleeves, choose hard, take care of yourself so that you can show up consistently day in and day out.
We tell people, the 100 rule. You cannot give up doing videos unless you did 100 of them. You cannot stop writing blog posts unless you did 100 of them, because it's very easy to say, I did that twice or I did for a week and it didn't work. Guess what? It wasn't supposed to work in 1 week. So you're totally right. Consistency is key. And unfortunately, people choose many times to go after whatever is new and keep changing their modus operandi, the way they do things, instead of being consistent. That's very true.
And that's hard. If you don't put your 10,000 hours in, you're not going to become an expert in what you do. You've got to put those 10,000 hours in. That's why I talk about conditioning within, is so that you can have the endurance. You're building up the inner muscle. You're building up being a business person, showing up, doing it, and that's why we chose hard. You need to take responsibility for your actions and create an environment where you succeed.
When we choose to have a business, we become another person, and we have to learn how to be this person, and it's not by doing every now and then, it's by doing every day.
You can strong will things, but it makes it really hard, and that's why January all the gyms are filled up with people, and by February it's gone. It's because there's only so much energy you can put by having strong will. There's other things you need to be put in place because your environment has a major, major impact on you. So if you're one of those people who wants a little bit more support, go join an accountability group or a mastermind group where you're going to be held accountable in front of more people, or go do things where you get rid of your excuses and you know that you're going to show up. Give yourself deadlines that you cannot not do. Outside pressure can motivate people a lot more than sometimes when we're just by ourselves. It's kind of like lifting weights. I know I lift a whole lot more weights if I have a trainer there saying, come on, push, than I do on my own.
I remember when we met, Lisa, you might want to tell that story, because you were going to speak in one of our live events. You had your TV show just starting out, and your husband ended up in the hospital, right?
Oh, yes.
We want to share that story, because I think nothing stopped. You didn't miss one episode of your show, still going strong now. You didn't miss anything. So
yeah, well, if you teach something, you get to live it too. Yeah. So it's one of those things. Careful what you're out there teaching. And I declared myself the Step It Up queen, and I was going to have to step it up. So my business was doing really well. It was rocking. It was doing really well. And I had made a ton of commitments of speaking and TV shows and that kind of thing. And I hadn't foreseen that my husband was going to end up with a blood clot from his ankle to his groin. So he had a 5-foot blood clot.
That's unbelievable.
They had never seen it at the hospitals before. They're like, oh, we've never seen such a big blood clot. And what happened with him is he started getting sicker and sicker to the point that he couldn't even stand. And here was this big, beefy, strong man who I had to hire in-house care because I couldn't get him to the bathroom and back because I wasn't strong enough. So here I am. I have all these kids to take care of, and I have a business where I made commitments. So this is where I really, really had to practice what I preached, which was boiling down, going, okay, what were the commitments I made? How do I show up? How do I do this? So when I was in the hospital, and you'll see some of my earlier TV shows, you'll see me at the hospital. My little kids are flipping and flapping in the hospital bed, but I'm doing the TV show right there in the hospital because there was no excuse to not do what I said I was going to do. I was still there for my family. I still made I put my husband first and get him the health he cared for, but I was very, very disciplined on what I had committed to and made sure that I showed up for every single client. I am proud of this. I didn't miss one client. I didn't miss one appointment, and it's about organization and really being there. And and at that point I had discovered where my weaknesses were, which I didn't have a deep enough child care system because my husband did watch the kids. So I've quickly learned I had to develop a better child care support system so that I could be there for everybody and do what I had committed to.
What is the process that you say, okay, this is bad, this is how I'm going to solve this really fast and keep going? Because I think that's a valid point. A lot of people would just panic and stop.
Well, there was a little bit of panic, I will have to admit. It was like, okay, my husband, I didn't know that they were going to do emergency surgery on him. And so he went in on Saturday, and I'm like, okay, by Monday, I need to be performing. And so I got on the internet, and I started Googling closed daycare centers. I didn't want to put my kids in daycare, but we're going, okay, right now we have to patch the hole. So I went on Facebook, I blasted it saying, please help me, I need to have help, I need to have daycare. I had recommended a really good daycare. I put my kids in it, I spread the word around the neighborhood going, okay, this is what I need help. I wasn't afraid to ask. I said, I need help with daycare because people were asking. And my neighbor, bless her precious soul, said, you know what, I watch the kids all the time, I would love your kids, just have them come on over. So
Nice.
after one day of daycare where my kids hated it, they went to the neighbors, and and then I worked it out and negotiated with the neighbor. But it was a lot about getting, okay, let's patch the hole at the beginning, let's do emergency thing, which was the daycare. Then I spread the word of my need. I was not afraid to let people know what I needed to have help with, because I did need some help. And that was the number one thing, is like, please help me with my kids. I need to have the peace of mind that they're taken care of. And it didn't take long for people to show up and be willing to help.
Many times as business owners, we do feel we cannot show any weaknesses, and for sure we cannot ask for help, right? That's such, I would say it's a four-letter word, because I see this with everybody. They go into a resistant mode and they don't want to ask for help at all, and that's not the best approach, correct?
Oh, it's not the best approach at all. I love helping my clients identify what's the number one thing they need help with, what's the one piece of information they need, and who has that information, and helping, going and just asking that person, because there's so many people willing to be helpful. And the other thing to do is, if you pinpoint an expert and you do ask them for some advice, is to do what they tell you to do. And then let them know that you did what you tell them to do, because so many
Good
people
advice.
go ask these professional speakers or some of my friends for advice, and they get so tired of it because people don't actually do what they said. And I like to come back and say, okay, I did that, I wanted to tell you, here's the results, and
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah. So Lisa, just recapping the 3 points. So do what's hard,
Condition within, and
condition
consistent
within,
action.
and we also learned that we need to ask, and we need to put a frame, right, around what we do, especially if we are the very creative type, which most of us really are, right? Business owners, they tend to be creators. Now, Lisa, Step Up or Get Out of the Way is the name of your book, right?
Yes, here's a little, there we
go. Where people can find that? Amazon?
They can go to stepitup or getoutoftheway.com. And there's tons of, if they get the book there at the Step It Up or getoutoftheway.com, they're going to get tons of videos and tons of information, because I interviewed over 100 small business owners and entrepreneurs about the current business environment, and what were the flaws, and what were the mistakes, and what were the things that really helped them be successful. So there's a lot of free videos that they can get there. It's a lot of great information.
And also your show, right, is on any connected TV under the Buzz and Biz channel. It's called bizonyourterms.tv, as well at bizonyourterms.tv. If you go to the site, you can watch there, iTunes, YouTube. Any last words?
Yes, and for your listeners for coming there, I want to offer a free gift.
Oh,
this
nice.
is a really popular ebook that I've written. It's called the 12 Secrets for Rapid Business Results, and I've had a lot of people love this ebook. So if they go to bizonyourterms.com/gift, they can go and they can get that ebook for free. So it's bizonyourterm.com/gift.
Lisa, thank you very much for being here and take the time for this nice conversation. I know I learned a lot, and I hope to have you back here very soon.
Oh, thank you. It's been fun.
Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you next time.